The factory headlight on the Honda Monkey 125 really isn't that bad. It's kind of nice, lights up pretty decent, it's LED. What more could you want really? Except when you go out on trails. There you go. That's a big difference, isn't it? So for me, when it came time to start navigating the really dark and deep woods of upstate New York on our annual riding trip, I chose to install some Bison Offroad rock crawling lights on my Honda Monkey. I have these on my Trail 125 and I really like them. So today we're going to put them on the Honda Monkey and I'm going to explain this process to you during this video. Luckily this project isn't difficult. You really just need a light switch and your lights that you want to install and a method on how to mount those lights. So right here I'm installing a light switch, a handlebar mounted light switch that I sourced off of Amazon. It's waterproof, it's affordable, and it works. I'll put the link to this switch and all the parts I use for this project in the video description, but when choosing a switch for your project, you really just want to get something that's rugged and waterproof. So this switch fit the bill for me, and it's the one that I chose. Here I'm just zip tying the wires in, getting them ready to route to the headlight housing. Obviously you want to remove your headlight from the bike so you can access the wiring within, and this is where I chose to tap my power from and also run the wires to my rock crawling lights from. You can obviously mount your lights wherever you want on the bike and run your power to wherever you'd like as well. To me, the easiest place to get the power I wanted was from the headlight housing. Also, my lights were going to be mounted to the side of the headlight housing, so this was the obvious choice for me. I studied the wiring diagram in the back of the service manual for the bike, and I found the circuit for the headlight that was applicable to tap into for my rock crawling lights. You'll want to focus on wires that are larger. We don't want to tap into something that's too small or it might overpower the circuit, although the LED lights in the rock crawling light kit don't use a lot of power. I pruned back the jacketing on the harness just enough to get a posi-tap onto this main wire. I love posi-taps. You don't have to splice into your wires, therefore maybe ruining them later if you want to revert the project back to original. So I'd highly suggest these nice little tools. Once again, they'll be in the description. If you're unsure about how DC circuits work, for lights it's really easy. You only have two wires, one positive, one negative. The positive wire goes to the 12 volt positive side of the circuit and the negative wire goes to the 12 volt negative side. Kind of like a battery. You have a positive and a negative. So all we're doing here is just finding a positive and a negative wire to hook the lights up to. Oddly enough, the blue wire you see here is actually the 12 volt positive for the light within the handlebar switch, the one that lights up red up there, and the black and brown wires are going to be the positive and negative. This is a little backwards. There should really be red and white, but it depends on the switch, I guess. So the blue wire is already hooked up and ready for our 12 volt to power the light on the switch. And we're just feeding in the rock crawling light pigtails, which aren't that long, into the already existing holes on the 5 and 7 o'clock positions of the housing. I just leave the rock crawling lights hanging for now, and we'll worry about mounting those up in a little bit here after we get the wire connections secured. In studying the wire diagram for this bike, all grounds really lead back to the same place. So I just found somewhere easy to grab, which is going to be the negative side of the side marker lights, or the blinkers. So I just tapped into both of these and I'm going to combine my ground wires and then distribute them between the two sides. You might need some extra wire to extend to the rock crawling light pigtails because they're not that long, or if yours are long, you should be good to go. Just make sure you get the grounds for them attached up to one of the known ground circuits. These crimp-on bullet connectors here might not be necessary for your project. They're basically to extend the wires for my rock crawling lights, so use as needed. Let's go ahead and tie together the two 12 volt positive side of the rock crawling light circuit, and then we're going to throw a crimp-on connector on those as well, just to make things a little bit easier and to remove them later if need be. That's the connections basically, so let's give it a test and see if the lights work, which they do. So we're ready for the final mounting. Since everything appears to be working, we're going to go ahead and make our final connections and tuck them all away as we move to mounting up the rock crawling lights. The Bison Offroad lights I like to use come with a few different mounting options in the box. I chose the simple L brackets here, and we're basically just going to stick these right on the side of the headlight housing. It's one of the easiest and most effective ways that I found. I don't want to get overly complex. You could get involved in a lot of things if you choose to, as far as bar mounts or mounting them on the frame or the forks back there. I just chose the easy route, and we're just going to stick them on the side of the headlight housing. Now that the plan for mounting the rock lights to the headlight housing is good, we're going to go ahead and just tidy up the wiring here. I like to use Velcro tape just so I can remove it later without the mess of electrical tape and the residue that comes with it. However you choose to tidy up your wiring, just ensure one thing is that it's not all bundled up on the front there, because it'll be hard to push in your actual headlight if it's all just kind of messy. So try to tuck it away to the sides the best you can to make reinstallation of the headlight as easy as possible. Okay, so that neat and tidy work you did bundling up your wires is going to matter here as you're reinstalling the headlight. Makes it a little bit easier if you've got everything tucked away back there. So once that headlight is set into place, we're going to go ahead and reinstall the bolts. I chose to use aftermarket hex head bolts here that were a little bit longer to accommodate for that bracket thickness, and obviously put that Loctite on there. Ask me how I know. Check my videos from a couple years ago about the problems I had with my headlight coming apart, and you'll see why. So we get these in here. I have a lot of thread engagement there, and I can crank down pretty good. Those are nice stainless steel hex bolts. I should put a link in the description for those as well. I played around with the placement of these rock lights. I didn't want them to be sticking out too far, because if I laid the bike over, I didn't want the lights to hit the ground and then bust my headlight housing up. So I tried to put them tucked in as much as I could to where they shouldn't be in danger. Once your rock light brackets are tight and where you want them, we're going to go ahead and reinstall the big bolt that goes into the side of the housing. I have a Baja style headlight cover here that you probably don't have, so mine's going to look a little bit different, but same concept in theory. And now the most rewarding part of any project you do, seeing the final result. So let's flick these things on. Wow, those are bright, aren't they? They're even brighter in person, trust me. Everything looks good. We're ready to rock and roll. Let's go rock and roll, actually. Here we are in upstate New York, one of the darkest places that I've ever ridden, especially in the woods. And we're going to take a look at the factory headlight, and then we're going to flick on our rock lights here. Okay, super bright. Let's see how they look, though. Let's get that camera back around the other side. There we go. Let's light up the world. That's cool on the trail, but how do they look on the road? So let's go out to the road and check. Here we go. Everything lights up pretty good. Now watch this. That's factory light. So it looks dark in comparison after turning off the lights. So I love these things, and I think you guys will too. So check the description for all the parts. And I hope you enjoyed this install. Let me know what you think in the comments and the descriptions. And look for the other video popping up here in a couple seconds on the test for those. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.